I raised that boy for 19 years, fished with him, taught him to drive. Then a nurse handed me a chart, and I found out he wasn't mine.
This is Michael Tells, and this is Recorded for Me. This one came in last night, and I sat with it a while before I could even record this. A man, 65 years old, telling somebody the thing he's never said out loud, not once, in 25 years. Let's listen to it together.
Hi, Michael. I'm not much for talking, never have been. So this is going to come out however it comes out. My name's Ed. I'm 65. And I've never said this out loud, not once, to anybody in 25 years. I don't know why tonight's the night. Maybe because there's nobody left to protect but me. So, here it is. I raised a son who isn't mine, and I found out when he was 19. Let me back up. I married Judy in 1980. We were kids, 20, 21. That's how it was done back then. You didn't wait around. She worked at a bank. I did HVAC, heating and cooling, my whole life. 41 years of crawling around in other people's basements. Good honest work, bad knees. Scott was born the next year, our boy. And I want you to understand something before I tell you the rest. I was there. I was in that room. I was the first one to hold him because Judy had a hard time of it and they handed him to me while they worked on her. 1981. Little red thing, screaming his head off. I don't remember a single day of my life better than that one. He was a good kid. Not an easy one. He was stubborn and he had a mouth on him in high school, but good. We fished. I taught him to drive in the church parking lot on Sundays. He'd hand me tools when I worked on the truck, same as I did for my old man. That was our thing. 19 years. That's what I had before I knew. Here's how it happened, and it's about as ordinary as it gets. That's the part people don't expect. There's no letter, no phone call, no big scene. It was paperwork. He was 19. He'd been in a wreck. Nothing terrible, thank God. He walked away from it. But they kept him overnight, ran the usual. And I'm sitting there in that hallway at 4 a.m. with a chart in my hands because the nurse handed it to me and walked off. And I'm looking at his blood type, type B. Now, I'd donated blood for 20 years by then, county drives, the whole thing. I'm type O, and Judy was type O. I knew that, too, because she'd had a transfusion when Scott was born. 2 people with type O can't make a type B child. That's not an opinion. That's just how it works. I stood in that hallway for a long time. I remember there was a vending machine humming. I remember that sound better than anything else that whole night. And I want to be honest with you, Michael, because otherwise, what's the point? My first feeling wasn't heartbreak. It was, I felt stupid. That's the truth. I felt like the last man in the world to know something everybody else must have known. 19 years of feeling like a fool all at once. Then the heartbreak came. Later, in the truck. I didn't say anything for 2 weeks. 2 weeks I sat with it. I went to work. I ate dinner across from her. I said, "Pass the salt." I don't know how I did that. I've thought about it a lot, and I still don't know. Then one night, Scott was back at his apartment by then. He was fine. I asked her. I didn't yell. I've never been a yeller. I just said, "Judy, is Scott mine?" And she didn't lie. I'll give her that till the day I die. She didn't lie. And she didn't cry to get out of it. And she didn't make it my fault. She just sat down at that kitchen table and she said, "No." Then she told me. 1980, before we were married. Barely. a few weeks. A man she'd known before me. It ended before it was anything. And by the time she knew she was pregnant, she'd already convinced herself it was mine. Then she hoped. And then he came out with my mother's chin, and she stopped letting herself think about it. She said she'd counted the days 1,000 times over the years, trying to make the math come out different. She said she'd been waiting 19 years for me to ask. Now, here's the part I've never told a living soul. I asked her one more thing that night. I asked her, "Does he know? Did you ever tell him?" And she said, "No, never. Nobody knew. Not her mother, not her sister, nobody." And she said, "Ed, it's yours to decide. Whatever you want to do, I won't fight you on it. I've got no right to." So it was mine to decide. 25 years ago, at a kitchen table at 2 in the morning. I want to tell you I thought about it real careful, weighed it out. I didn't. I sat there maybe a minute and I already knew. I thought about the church parking lot. I thought about him handing me the 3/8 when I asked for the 1/2 inch, on purpose, laughing. I thought about the first time he called me from college, homesick, and pretended he wasn't. And I thought, what exactly would I be telling him? "Son, that man you've called Dad for 19 years, turns out there's paperwork. What does that give him?" I couldn't come up with one single thing it gives him. Not one. It only takes. So I said no. I told her we'd bury it, and I meant it. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was easy after that. It wasn't. There were years, bad years, honestly, where I'd look at him across a table and my head would go somewhere it shouldn't. I'd catch myself looking for the other fella in his face, wondering who he was, if he was still out there, if Scott had his hands. That's an ugly thing to feel about your own son, and I felt it plenty. I'm not proud of that. But you asked for honest. And Judy and me, we had a hard stretch. Couple of years where we were real polite with each other and not much else. Almost didn't make it, honestly. But we did, and I'll tell you when it turned. Scott got married, 26 I think he was, and at that wedding he stood up and did the toast, you know, thanking everybody, and he got to me and he said, "And my dad, who never missed anything, not one thing my whole life." And that was it. That was the end of it for me, because he was right. I never did miss anything. Every game, every recital, every dumb school thing, I was there. And no blood test in the world was going to take that away from either of us. That's when I stopped feeling like the man who got fooled, and started feeling like the man who got to be there. Judy passed 4 years ago, cancer. It was quick, which I'm grateful for. Near the end, she wanted to talk about it. She got that way, wanted everything settled. She asked me if I'd changed my mind, if Scott should know after she was gone. And I told her no. I said, "Judy, we made him a family. Let him keep it." She held my hand. She said, "You were better to me than I deserved." And I said, "Probably." Made her laugh. Last time I made her laugh. So Scott's 44 now. He's got 2 kids of his own, boy and a girl. The boy's 11, and he's got the same mouth on him, God help us all. And he calls me Dad, every week, Sunday afternoons, like clockwork. Sometimes I'm holding that phone thinking, you have no idea what I know, and you never will. 25 years I've carried it. It gets lighter. It really does. It's not a stone anymore. It's more like a thing I know about the weather. And I know some people would say I was wrong, that he's got a right to it, that there's medical stuff, family history, all that. Maybe they're right. I've thought about it. But here's where I always end up. That man, whoever he was, he made a phone call, or he didn't. He drove off, or he never knew. He's got a stranger's name and a stranger's face, and he never held that kid in a hospital at 4 in the morning. I did. 1981. First one to hold him. Blood gave me 19 years of not knowing, but I gave him 44 years of showing up. And I know which one of those actually makes a father, because I've had a long time to think about it. I don't know why I needed to say that to somebody. Maybe just to hear it out loud once before I'm gone too. Maybe just so it exists somewhere outside my own head. If you're out there carrying something like this, something you decided to hold instead of hand over, I'm not going to tell you you're right. Every one of these is different, and only you know yours. But I'll say this. There's a kind of love that's mostly just staying put when you've got every reason to walk. Nobody claps for it. Nobody ever knows. It still counts. All right, that's it. That's the whole thing. Thank you for listening, Michael. I feel about 10 pounds lighter, and I didn't expect that. Take care, son.
So that was Ed. I've listened to that twice now, and what gets me isn't the hospital hallway. It's the kitchen table. 2 in the morning, and his wife tells him it's his to decide. And he says he sat there maybe a minute. A minute. 25 years of silence, decided in about 60 seconds. But you know what? I don't think that was fast. I think that was just a man who already knew who he was. He didn't have to think about it because there was nothing to think about. That was his boy. And the part I can't put down? The wedding toast. My dad, who never missed anything. Scott had no idea what he was giving him with that. He was just being sweet at his own wedding, and he handed that man his whole life back. Ed said something near the end that I keep turning over. He said there's a kind of love that's mostly just staying put when you've got every reason to walk, and nobody claps for it. Nobody ever knows. Well, somebody knows now. I think that's maybe why he sent it. This has been Michael Tells. Take care of each other. I'll see you next time.